Hello, Gail
Gail
here
here
with
with
you
you,
with
pearls
pearls
of
of wisdom.
wisdom.
And
And
today,
today,
my
my
little
little
pearl
pearl
is
is
called,
called,
Do
Do
You
You
See
See
What
What
I
I
See?
See?
And
And
maybe
maybe
because
because
it's
it's
getting
getting
near
near
Christmas,
Christmas,
not
not
quite
quite
yet,
yet,
but we're
but we're
getting
getting
there.
there.
That
That
song
song
keeps
keeps
coming to
coming to
my
my
mind.
mind.
Do
Do
you
you
see
see
what
what
I
I
see?
see?
So,
So,
do
do
you
you
see
see
what
what
I
I
see?
see?
And
And
often, I
often,
don't
I
know
don't know
about
about
you,
you,
but
but
sometimes
sometimes
we
we
can
can
become
become
blind
blind
to
to
what
what
is
is
really in front of us. And I have a saying that if anybody who knows me, they'll know I say it sometimes. Well, I say a lot of things. One of the things I say is still blind. That's one of them I say. The other thing I say is just because you have eyes doesn't mean you see. And I was thinking about my father, and he used to always say to my mom, "Where's the car keys?" And she'd go, "Ah, they're right here." And she'd come right in and pick them up and give them to him. And he'd go, "Ooh." And so just because you have eyes doesn't mean you see. Also, I had another story to tell you about. I have a friend, we were driving to a presentation one morning and we were going south. I live in Colorado, so south is the mountains would be on my right hand side. And we were driving south, the sun was in my face, and it was a beautiful morning. And I said, I kind of had this awareness that we were not going north towards Boulder, which is where we were supposed to be going. And I said, "Where are the mountains?" And she goes, "I don't know." She's just driving away. And I go, "Are they in front of you?" Thinking they weren't because I was feeling the sun flat on my face. And she went, "No." And I go, "Are they on your side?" Because she's a little directionally impaired. And she goes, looks to the left and goes, "No." I go, "Are they behind you?" And she looks behind, "No." And I go, "Are they on my side?" Because they have to be somewhere because we're in Colorado and it's a beautiful day. You should be able to see those mountains. And she looks over and goes, "Oh, there they are." So just because you have eyes doesn't mean you always see. I see myself as competent, as humorous, as intelligent, as prosperous, as amazing, inspiring, and capable. And yet, when if you were to just see me on the street, and I want you to play along with me and be honest, if you were to see a blind person on the street, society most of the time sees blind as incapable, invaluable, low expectations, unworthy, and they don't think that we can do anything that you can do. I must be in a singing mood today. Anything you can do, I can do better. Anyway, they don't see that out of me. And it's not their fault in a way, it's how they were programmed. Maybe they had somebody in their past that, like a grandma that couldn't get around. Maybe it was her age. Maybe she couldn't hear or see, and she didn't want to learn what it was like to be blind. So maybe you don't have a great role model what a person who is blind is capable of. Maybe that person who's blind was angry that day, or maybe you just saw blindness as something less than something equal to. I'm here to say that blindness is a blessing. I'm going to say that again. Blindness is a blessing, not a curse. You may not agree with me, and it is. Some people go, "Oh my God, if I were blind, ah," that's because they're fear based, and they think of it as, "Oh, they'd be missing this or that or whatever." It is what it is, and I don't really miss. You can't compare it. Kind of reminds me of a story of two moms that were in the hospital after having babies. And the one baby says to the other baby, "Wow, you got," the one baby who has been drinking milk says, "Wow, this milk is fabulous." And the other baby says, "Well, I have water." And the one with the milk says, "Well, don't you want milk? Aren't you missing that?" Well, the one with the water goes, "Well, I've never had milk, so I'm good over here." And the one with the milk says, "Oh, you ought to try it." And then the baby goes, Oh, wow, I am missing that. Wow, I do like that. And I'm not here to say, like, if I had sight, would I like it? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I've had sight, I've had partial sight, and it was good for then. And if I had it now, gosh, I'd have to learn how to read all over again and drive a car, and I'd have to match all those objects to what I know that they would feel like. I'd have to match them to what they look like. And reading, how long would it take me to learn how to read at a proficient level? I'm just saying. So I'm not sure it'd be an advantage for me to see or not to see. Besides, I don't want to see graffiti and stuff. So in my world, I can just see the way things I want them to see. There's all kinds of perks to being blind. For example, I can look at a total eclipse straight on without it bugging me. I bet you can't do that. I can, what else can I do? I can peel eggs and not cry. I can walk backwards pretty well. And I'm probably sure there's some more perks that I can do that you can't do. And which makes it a kind of a perk to be blind, because I can read in the dark. But you can't do that. In fact, I can probably do anything in the dark and you can't do it. So there you have it. I like to see people from the inside out versus the perk of being blind would be to do that versus the outside in. And to do that, I see people by their voice, by their intonation, by their pitch, by their words that they use and the language they speak. And I can see pretty well right away if that person is being authentic or not. So most people judge people on the color of the hair they have, or their skin, or their clothes that they're wearing, or how many tattoos, or the color of their hair. Is it purple or green? And they make some kind of assumption by that. But I don't do that. I see people from the inside out. How do you see people? As I said, some people are seeing blind people from the fact that they're not educated, or they haven't been exposed, or they see as, or they've had some bad experience about blind, and they're very embarrassed sometimes to be around us. Oh, it's really funny. They'll use words like, "Did you see the movie?" Then they go, "Oh, I should have said that. Oh, see." It's not like I woke up today and went, "Oh my God, I'm blind." I'm used to being blind. I've been this way for a day or two. So it's not shocking for me to hear the word see or look or watch. I watch TV. I see with my ears and my hands. I go to movies. I go to plays and operas. I see just like you see. I just see differently. I even put makeup on when I choose to do that. And I just do it differently than what you would do. So anything you can see, I can see too. People think they're going to offend me by their actions or behaviors. For example, when I'm walking down the street, and especially now when I have a cane and I run into somebody, they always go, oh, sorry. And they're so embarrassed by them having to be right there and me running into it. The cane's job is to find objects. And if you just happen to be an object, the cane is doing its job. It found you. It's okay for you to stand in the middle of the sidewalk. And likewise, it's okay for me to run into you. Unless you're 95 years old and you're on a walker, then that may not be okay. Otherwise, don't be embarrassed or feel guilty that I ran into you. It's not your fault that you're standing in the middle of the sidewalk. Now, would I wish you'd had the foresight to maybe see me coming and move out of my way? Yes. And just because you weren't paying attention, there's no right, wrong. It's all in divine order. I always say when I run into somebody, "Oh, nice to meet you," because I want to take that guilt away from you. And then you laugh and you're still embarrassed and you walk backwards and you go, "Oh my God, I just had a blind girl run into me." And so don't be embarrassed. Don't feel guilty. It's okay. As I have a friend that says, "You do you and I'll do me." And if you watched my video from last week, we talked about mats. So you stand on your mat, I'll stand on my mat. And if they collide, I'll just say glad to meet you. It's neither one of our faults for that happening. There's no reason to feel guilty. What we want as blind people is to be treated the same as other people. And we have to do quite a lot to be seen that way, because most of the time, as I said, people treat us less than and instead of the same as, or they'll see us as greater than, like, oh, you're so amazing because you're blind. It's like, yeah, I'm so amazing. Now, I want to be amazing and inspiring because of my words and intelligence and my personality. I don't want to be amazing just for being blind. I don't want to be seen as less than because I'm blind. I just want to be me, the same as. In my book, I call that the devil God syndrome. I was going to talk about that today, but I decided, do you see me as I see you? Do you see what I see was a better topic. And it is part of that. I want to be equal to, I want to be treated the same as. When I was Miss Colorado Senior America, other people could see how to be on stage. They could see the smile with their teeth, where I had to be taught that. I thought you smiled like this. And for those who can't see, I put my lips together and just make a smile. I did not know you had to show your teeth when you smile. It's like, really? I mean, how would I know that being blind? Just the same way I had to be taught how to do the Queen's wave. Put all your fingers together and move your hand from side to side. Didn't know that. Had to be taught that. And I had to be taught how to walk gracefully in a long skirt. And there was a certain way you had to do that to do turns and stuff. And I'll demonstrate, but we're not going there. And I had to spend many, maybe 100 hours longer than if I were sighted to get myself to be equal to the sighted contestants. And why did I do that? Because I wanted them to see me as a contestant that happened to be blind, not a blind contestant. I wanted to see, I didn't want my blindness to be an issue when I competed. Even though I showed up on stage with my seeing eye dog and we practiced many long hours to have him sit and to be at perfect statue level when I did my turns, and so I could show all sides of my dress and everything. And when I did my wave and when I smiled, I wanted him, he was there. He's a part of me. You can't take that away. You cannot take my blindness away. And yet I did not want that to be a detriment. I wanted to be an enhancement of who I am and who I am to bring to the table. And so with that, a lot of times people with disabilities, and I'm talking about blind because that's what I know about, we have to do much more than the average person in order to be equal to the average person. And so I want you to look at today, how do you see, and I want you to be honest too, how do you see people on the streets? Do you see them from the inside out, from your heart, from your soul, or do you see them from the outside in? And I want you to notice, don't judge it, don't qualify it, nothing, just note. So like meditation, just note the thoughts going by. I see, yes, I see that is blind. I see that person is, and then what do you think about that? What are your perceptions? What are your beliefs? And then I want you to slowly shift the way you see, and that way you'll shift and change the way you live. Remember, blindness is a blessing. You are a blessing. I'm a blessing. And we are all children divine of God. And so take that, see what you think. And if you want to comment, you can email me, Gail at soaringintogreatness.com.